All right, we're live, and good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Meet the Staff Monday. As always, Jeffrey Smith coming to you from Pure Bowling, and I am joined today by my good friend here, Mr. Kevin Bandrowski.
Hello,
Kevin,
all.
hey, brother.
Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic. Looks like you might be sitting in a man cave or something there with the decor in the background.
Yeah, just a little bit. A few collectible cards.
Yes. So, I invited Kevin on today. For those of you that do not know Kevin, Kevin is on staff with Pure Bowling. And I wanted to bring Kevin on, kind of introduce him to everybody, fire a couple questions away at him and, get a better understanding of who Kevin is and what his aspirations are for bowling and go from there. So, Kevin, of course, is always welcome to the broadcast, and glad you took some time to join us today. But why don't we start off about with a little bit of background of yourself, Kevin?
Well, I'm 35. I'll give away my age. I don't mind. Originally from New York, Long Island to be exact, out east, out in the Hamptons. Uh, Born and raised out there. Started bowling at probably 7 in a Ronald McDonald Have a Ball League. So that
Nice.
was the first little red plastic ball with the yellow logos, and that's where the bug started. Bowled league in the same center for until it shut down before I moved here.
Right. Pretty
So
pretty awesome. And when did you
it,
make the move to Pennsylvania?
2009.
2009. Okay, so you've been here, roughly 11 years.
Yes, sir.
It's okay to date yourself at 35. We're
Yep.
all young in heart here, my friend, and I think bowling in general kind of keeps us that way. So it's no hidden secret. Kevin and I actually bowl league together on a team tonight in the York area, along with Dominic Motilla and my other half. Most guys say they're better half. She's my other half, Carrie Smith. So we like to have a little bit of fun with bowling, have a couple swing looseners in there, and just have a good time with the game. Outside of talking about all this techie stuff and the stuff we do on here, but we need to remember, you know, to go out there and have fun while we're doing it. So, from a bowling perspective, what got you into it on the island, though, Kevin? Was it did your dad bowl, mother, anything along those lines, or how did you get into the sport?
Mom did. So I used to go down on Monday nights, watch her bowl ladies league. At that time it was when you could still smoke in a bowling alley, so you come home smelling like an ashtray. But
Mm-hmm.
go down there, wait for her to finish up, and then I would get some practice in after she was done. Of course, if homework was done at that point, then bowl a couple games, and then uh, after I grew up a little bit, I actually worked at the bowling alley at the snack bar, so that's where the cooking bug started, and
Gotcha.
did that to get free practice and started doing all that. So it got me in more and more.
Right. So, Kevin just made mention to the cooking aspect. So, generally, when we have, individuals on, we kind of ask them, outside of bowling and stuff. So, Kevin, I know by trade you're a cook. So, why don't
Yeah,
you tell everybody about, kind of what industry you're in and what you do?
I am a chef at Willow Valley Retirement Home here in Willow Street. Been 11 years in September that I've been there. So during this whole Corona thing, I've actually been working, taking care of all my people. Um, when it was when we were in lockdown, I was cooking for 220 people a night and delivering every one. Well, I didn't personally, but we
Hmm.
cooked and delivered. But now they're able to come through and cook for 70 to 100 people every night.
Pretty awesome. So, I mean, 11 years. I mean, you've been here 11 years. So, literally moved here, first
Moved here.
job you had when you came to Pennsylvania and been there ever since. So,
Yes, sir.
but yeah, it's, we appreciate everybody that's, kind of been in the front lines, if you will. Sometimes we only think about, hospitals and things like that, but we got to think about the food industry and retail and everything like that for the individuals that were working straight through it.
People
And,
always got
got to eat. We got to eat. I'm one of them. I don't miss too many meals. There's no hidden secret to that.
the same.
I'm actually, speaking of meals, I'm starting to smell steak that's on the grill right now. So, I got to charge it up before we go to league tonight and get my
Right.
striking shoes on. So, you know, as always, we always have, you know, guys that like to come in here and troll. So, you know, the first one here, you might know this guy. I think he's trolling a little bit already, but you know, he's
Appreciate it.
yeah, he's probably going to be low on the team tonight anyway. So
Yep.
he may be a lousy cook, but he's probably going to be low man on the team tonight because he's on strike from drinking, so his swing isn't very good right now. But you know, and Kevin, you know, I know we talk a lot about bowling in general, and you know, you've been recently adding a bunch of gear to your arsenal. And what are you liking right now? What's in Kevin's bag? You know, what's in there now? What are you currently maybe thinking of adding, and what's got you know catches your eye a little bit?
Well, currently, since as you know, we did a little grip change, I'm only really using. I got the Ebonite Arrow and the Web Tour Hybrid, which I'm absolutely in love with. The grip change is amazing. So that's been my go-to. It's made me look pretty good the last couple of weeks. Well, not last week, but as far as like thinking of adding, I still want to do a original Prism Hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
That new Omni Hybrid is looking pretty sweet. There's a couple of others. I got to put a new arsenal together. I think it's in the plans.
Right. Any you know, I know you've kind of started to hit some of the tournament scene around here. Anything on the your calendar right now that's, you know, coming up, things you're planning on bowling or,
Uh,
aspirations going forward too.
I mean I had my PBA card for a while, but dropped it a few years back. But I eventually would love to get back into bowling a regional or heck, I mean nationals would definitely. I've never done nationals before, so that's something I definitely have to get into. And hit as many local tournaments as I can and get back out there. It's been a lot of fun. Met a lot of great people here.
Right. You know, and you're right. I mean, it's, you know, you kind of get your feet wet and you got to take your bumps along the way. You know, we're on here talking about you. I took some bumps yesterday. You know, I had a rough outing yesterday at a regional. You know, I love being back on the lanes and bowling healthy. And you got to take the good with the bad. You know,
Absolutely.
yesterday the conditions were tough. You know, the approaches were really slick, which was another element that kind of made it a little interesting. And
A few people.
shot making was pretty good, but I was a split machine and I made zero of them. So it was a long day. But you know what? You know, no matter how much we talk about bowling, we both know that you learn from failure, and
I
you know, and on top of it, you can't always learn from when you win because when you're
had,
winning, everything's going right.
had plenty of both.
Yeah. So, you know, for anybody that's watching out there, you know, take that for what it's worth. You know, I was talking to a few individuals today and basically said, you know, you have to have the mentality where it's really short term memory. You know, and you know, just the other week we kind of had a rough first game, you know, together in league, and then we all just decided to strike in game two and bowled 10:59 for four people.
Yeah,
So you know, it can change in a heartbeat. You just have to have that short term memory.
that's it. It
Right.
definitely.
Right. Mike Slacky put this up here, and he says, you know, if you didn't know, Kevin can roll the ball pretty well left-handed as well. Good comment that's up there. I happen to be another one of those players that think they're decent left-handed, and I will say that there was some friendly action matches probably about a month and a half ago, and Kevin did end up on the upper hand of that just barely, but I blame it on all my doubles partners. So, Kevin, if you want to go back to doing some singles matches there, I think we need to get that rolling again.
Absolutely.
You know, we'll both be fair about it and both use demo balls just like the last time. So, you know, nothing fits the hand. We go out there and have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. A couple other buys that are kind of popping in here. Fusick, thanks for joining us. Hey, Chris, glad to have you on. Terry Mize, no one likes left-handers. It's not true that we dislike left-handers, Terry. We're just very jealous of you being able to play 10-5 on every single pattern. That's
Exactly.
all. It has nothing to do with that. It's kind of like when we roast on Ryan Graham, you know, for being two-handed and throws urethane on every pattern.
On everything.
Um,
Yeah.
it just happens. But um, uh, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Believe it or not, I tripped up on my words. But what do you think it's going to take, Kevin? You know, you're talking about going to trying to get back on the regional scene and stuff like that. I mean, what do you think is the trigger for you? You know, what tells you, hey, it's time to get back out there and give it a go. How are you going to know when you're ready?
More practice for sure. Putting a couple of more pieces in the arsenal. Definitely a little bit more mental strength. That was one thing I was never good with, but I've worked on a lot. It's not worth it to get mad anymore. I'm too old for that and can't recover from it anymore. But keep a good level head and just try to put the work in, really.
Right. And that's a good thing to put out to the kids that may be on the program as well, because there's a lot of youth out there that's aspiring to make it to the next level. And I think, the mental game, is something we actually talked a lot last week when we had Mr. Sterner on last Tuesday. Was a pretty good segment talking about the mental aspect of it, because it's such a huge part of, of excelling out there, because you can't afford to give up frames. We can give up frames physically, but when you let the mental side take over, you're not going to out execute a bad head or a bad noodle, as I refer to it.
Mm-hmm.
Too many extremely talented physical players that are out there that just don't have the mental fortitude to win. And, it's unfortunate because it is a big aspect of it. So, it's a good point to throw out there. It's something we all need to work on. And I was right there with you when I was younger.
At.
Sorry, you broke up there just a little bit. Go ahead, Kevin.
We have golf to get frustrated at.
Yeah, yes, we do. We get frustrated at that, but I think even at that, that's a lot of laughing goes on when we hit some of those. And then you know, Kevin talks about golf, and we were out last week, and first couple holes, I'm beating down on Kevin pretty bad, and I watched him swing a club, and I'm like, your swing looks A, B, and C. Do this, and he goes up there and just runs me over the rest of the round. And
38
it's
back
funny.
9.
Yeah, that's we don't need to say what you actually had, but it's I got my ass kicked. All right, that wasn't a PG word there. I used a swear word on a feed. Get over it. But it's all good.
It is absolutely. It's all in fun, just like everything else.
Yes, absolutely is. So Kevin, I know I always ask some of the individuals who are on here. So outside of bowling, outside of work, what are your other interests, Kevin? I know this, but the general public doesn't.
If it involves cars going fast, that is where you will find me. As you can tell in the background, I've been in love with drag racing since. I mean, I lived a mile from the local track on Long Island, so I had it every weekend. Went to my first national event in '95 in Englishtown, New Jersey, and have gone to a race every year since. So that is if it involves, yeah, if it preferably cars going straight. NASCAR is okay; it's better to watch on TV, but drag racing is my thing.
So drag racing, kind of top fuel.
Yep,
Anything to smell the nitro, huh?
absolutely.
So Terry just asked the question here. We won't pick on Terry for being left-handed any longer, but he was asking, what is your benchmark ball? Like Kevin said, I know he went through a grip change and stuff, but I mean, maybe even ideally, what does a benchmark ball look like for you, Kevin?
I'm something that going back to something prior, but something I'm hoping to learn is I've always kind of just found a spot and thrown it at it. I never really read front to back as much, so that's something that I want to learn a little bit more. So it's something that just is clean, catches my eye really quick. I have a certain motion I like to see. Before I went to the Web Tour Hybrid, would have been probably my vintage Phantom. That just always fit my eye. It was super controllable. Didn't do anything funny off the back. Now with the Web Tour Hybrid, I'm seeing that same motion. So that's it. It really just it fits my eye really well.
Right. And we use that a lot. You're talking about front to back. All of us on our team actually use the Web Tour Hybrid quite a bit, because when we think about things front to back and we think about those league patterns that are, over cliffed or wet dry, we use them a lot more to smooth patterns out, so we don't have such violent back end reactions. So they get a heavy dose between you, myself, and Dom lately, and even Carrie, if they get really, really, really dirty to the right, she'll go to one. But she usually just runs us over with a Redemption Hybrid. And,
Yep.
That ball is pretty darn special too. I actually just drilled her a second one. I don't think she threw it all this weekend. She had a pretty good showing at the regional. She decided to bowl at the last minute, and the reason I bring that up is for anyone out there that's thinking about bowling tournaments and trying to get out of their comfort zone. It was a 44-foot pattern, and we knew it was going to be pretty difficult, and obviously Carrie really prefers shorter patterns and something of medium volume. So she knew it was going to be a challenge, but she said to me, she goes, "I want to bowl. I want to go. I'm not going to get any better by not bowling or picking and choosing." And she also did one thing we talked a lot about, and almost a comment you just said, something, a ball that catches your eye. She played a part of the lane that most probably wouldn't think about playing on 44 feet. And she did what we refer to as a little trick she does, and it's basically throw it over her left toe.
Didn't even have to
stick
that out.
She bowled well. She hit a rough pair, which there were plenty of those in that building the last game, and it kind of took her out of the cut. But all in all, I think it was pretty successful for her. But it's along the same lines of what you're saying is you gotta do the things that match up to your eye and the things that you excel at, and you gotta find a way to do you, right, the best version of you. That's
Absolutely
huge. But so this is a good one, Kevin, and you're gonna have to do your darn best. And I know the answer, but Jason Jeffries wants to know, what is the story behind your unique approach? So I don't have a video of his approach, but Kevin can kind of explain it.
So I kind of step out and square up in my third step, and we've joked about, and you'll elaborate on, it looks like it's going to go between my legs, but I really don't honestly know where it came from. I did have a knee injury my senior year of high school, so I don't know if it kind of stemmed off of that for take some pressure off. But it's just kind of I always had fast feet, so I'm feeling like it's just kind of a way I catch up and collect myself before the awesome finish where I just posed every shot and I look great.
Right. I wish Adam Ishman was on, because we just roast him right now because you said post. So I'll make sure he goes back and he hears the segment about posting shots, because
All right.
I always roast Ishman because he falls off everything. But it's unique. I agree. But there is a key point to that, and it goes along the same things that we stress so much when we're from here at Pure. It is, we do what we can repeat, right? We do the things, if we can repeat it, I don't care if you do a cartwheel, a somersault, or a backflip on the way to the foul line, if you do it the same way every time, right? There is, it could be a physical ailment. I have one, the way my hand comes back in my swing is something I would try to break for most people, but I've broken my elbow so badly, my arm doesn't go the direction that I would normally teach. But so I do what isn't painful. I do what I can repeat. Kevin does what he can repeat. And when he says he kind of steps out of it, ladies and gentlemen, he steps out of it. Literally, everybody thinks he's throwing it between his legs like he's going to do a trick shot, and then he squares up and throws it. So the story Kevin said I'm going to elaborate on, and I'm going to do it because this is kind of the icebreaker. So Kevin and I have known each other probably for we've known each other, but we've gotten close over probably the last 2 years.
Yep.
And Kevin started bowling league, the 4-person league with us on a Monday night, and we brought a team in, and we were having fun. We knew we were going to have a pretty good year, but I don't know if it was the first week or the second week. We're all joking around and stuff, and Kevin goes up, and I'm watching him bowl. I'm like, damn, I never knew he stepped out of it like that. And a little bit goes in, and he goes to throw a shot, and he goes up and he stops. He kind of balks, and I looked dead serious, looked him square in the face. I go, "What'd you do? Walk straight?" Like, I didn't know why he stopped, and it's the first thing that came to my mind, thinking, all right, he balked because he walked straight. He didn't step out of it. So I think that was pretty much the icebreaker, and then from there, it's kind of just grown into a really good fun team, and we look forward to it each and every week. So
absolutely,
which includes having a few beverages, because we like to have a little bit of fun. But Troy Lefevre asked another one, and he knows this, but Kevin is from the No Bevel Club. So Troy asks, why do you prefer no bevel on your finger holes, and how long did it take you to get used to it?
I've done it probably. There was a point when I was still on Long Island. I actually did it with my thumb and my fingers. I had it in both. I was a serious grabber. I had the big callus spot in the inside of my thumb, and so I did it for about a year on both. then went back to beveling my thumb hole, and I left the fingers. I love the feel straight off the press. Tells me not to touch them, so I kind of just try to, be nice to it at the bottom, and it just works. I haven't tried changing it since. I did grips, no grips, and it's just the feeling I've always gone back to.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are out there that do it. Our good friend Mr. Pelusic, Pants doesn't bevel.
Yep.
Cody doesn't really bevel his finger holes very, very much, other than a little bit. Adam Bear, kind of the same way, like that sharper feel to it. I'm the polar opposite. I use vacuum grips, and I use so much pitch in my fingers that I actually hit the top of my grips with a bevel sander after I cut them, and then I acetone them down because I like them nice and rounded off. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just different. It's unique to each person, whatever's comfortable to you. So, there's no right or wrong way on that. And kind of to answer that, Troy, I mean, you'd have to be trial and error. Troy, I know you have been using Sarge Easter. I would not recommend doing that with a Sarge Easter grip, just because you have so much of your finger to try to get out of that right hole. That would make it a little challenging. But we'll take a few more questions here, Kevin, because, it's already 20 minutes in, believe it or not. But Brandon Hinder asked, who was your favorite bowler to watch when you were growing
up? Quickest answer, Robert Smith. He was always a guy I loved watching on TV. I loved the high rev guys, and fortunate enough got to meet him and bowl next to him a couple of times, and that was the coolest part. Seeing him on TV and then getting to meet him. He was just a really, really cool guy.
Yeah, Maximum Bob, we haven't seen him for years out on tour. Obviously some injuries that have kind of ended his career, but he definitely was fun to watch. He kind of revolutionized, even the higher rev game, if you will, because there was no one-handers out there at the time that were making the angles that boy was making. Just a monstrous dude.
And that goes back
just got after it.
Easter, always looked at that grip and wondered what the heck that was. He was one of the first ones I ever saw with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm not sure. Paul Moore, we'll get a couple more here. Paul Moore asks, which local tournament is your favorite to bowl?
Man, I haven't really done I haven't done too many in this area. Unfortunately, never got to bowl your tournament. I hope, I'd gotten to do the last one, cheated tournament, but never got to bowl the big one at Dutch. I would have loved to.
Mm-hmm. It'll be back.
Oh yeah, I've done some others. A couple of ones that mostly around here has been tournaments over in York that Rick's run. Done a lot over there. That's probably a couple of my favorites. I always thought he was always a good guy, straight up, and ran good tournaments over there.
Right, and there's plenty to choose from around the area. Obviously there's a lot of local stuff that goes on. Not to get sidebarred, but I put one up today because, the girls were asking, like, oh, we won a women's tournament again. And I said, you know what? All right, same deal as last time. I said, I don't mind running tournaments. I actually love doing it. I like to, offer competitive events. And I said to the girls, I said, hey, you give me 50 shares and 50 likes on here, and I'll run you another all girls tournament. So, it's just about there. I looked at it a little bit ago. I think they had already went over the amount of likes, and they had a couple shares to go, but there'll definitely be one here in kind of the Lancaster County area in the future. And don't worry, like I said, boys / and girls, my big event will be back. Obviously COVID kind of ruined this year. We had brought it back last year after, all the transitions from, me going out of the old center and, starting up Pure Bowling, in the Ephrata location. We had taken a year or 2 years off actually, and returned it last year. But, just without fundraising opportunities, it was impossible for me to try to, run one this year, but it will definitely be back. It is something I love to throw out there. And as we all know, if you win that event, you earned it, because it is not an easy event to win. It's also not easy on my staff, who has to do all the legwork to raise the money. So, Kevin, you'll get to enjoy that aspect of it. It's really not that bad. But all right, buddy. Well, I'll tell you what. We're just at that 25-minute mark, which is generally where we start to, cut these broadcasts off. But real easy for us to continue to talk about bowling.
Oh yeah,
for long periods of time. But what I would say is if anybody had a question that maybe they didn't get to ask, or we ran out of time here on the broadcast tonight, again, reach out to Kevin directly. He is on Facebook. It is Bandrowski. If you hear me, I might call him Bambierski or Bandrinkskis or something along those lines. Bambierskis. It doesn't matter. You'll find him some way, but if you look him up on there, he'll be glad to answer any questions. If you have any issues with it, you can reach out to me, and I'll, be sure to get you in contact with Kevin so he can answer any other ones you have. And by all means, come and see us sometime in at the center. Kevin kind of works some, every other weekend and stuff, but you'll find him at the center quite a bit on, weekends and some nights and stuff. But feel free to pop by.
Get back on the press with you.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. But, we are finalizing the rest of the guests for the week here. I will tell you that we are going to be reviewing the Authority Solid by Columbia 300 tomorrow. And Thursday, obviously, Throw It Thursday will feature that ball. And we will definitely be joined by Kerry Smith, Chelsea Merklinger, and Paul Moore is going to join us this week to throw the demo ball we have at the center. So make sure that you look out for those broadcasts that come across. And as always, as we wrap up here, make sure you go out and support your local centers, your proprietors, and your pro shop. And if there's anything that we can ever do for you at Pureit, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. So, Kevin, thank you again for joining me tonight. It was fun. Always a pleasure, Absolutely. My friend.
Yes.
And if you beat me to the center, just make sure there's a pitcher waiting there for me. Blue Moon, plenty of oranges, pal. 1 cup.
And I just want to say thank you for everything you've done so far. It's been awesome the last couple of years. It's been, the help is much appreciated, and I hope, things can go further.
They definitely will, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. And for everybody out there, thank you for joining us tonight, and stay tuned till tomorrow's broadcast. All right, gang, we will talk to everybody later. Have a good night.
Thanks, everybody.